Today, my brothers and sisters, we've got to wake up, right? There are families that are bringing their children up and they're not teaching their back home language. They're not teaching a second language. There are families who have brought up an entire generation, and that generation speaks, one language only, maybe the English language. Now, you have broken a massive part of your cultural ties because of that. There are families who have brought up children who are completely dressed, completely, modified to this side of the world. Now, what will happen in 20, 30 years, it's already coming to the surface. What will happen is you are going to get children who will grow up in a generation, 2 generations time, who will have nothing to do with the ties that their parents had beforehand. So already people are, what they're doing, there's Mother's Day, Father's Day, there's people who give that great significance, and what that's doing is that it's making some Muslims, it's not happening on a large scale, but I'm talking about the crisis will only be there in 20, 30 years time. May Allah, save us from it. But already they're giving preference to that, which means that their focus is going away from the day-to-day Father's Day and the day-to-day Mother's Day. Already when a father has passed away, a mother has passed away, people are thinking of the 1 year commemoration. So they'll come after 1 year, they'll do some kind of function to remember their parents. But and many of the, I want to be very clear with you, many of the affluent, people, Muslim affluent sort of backgrounds, they do this a lot more than the non-affluent sort of background. So there's kind of a detachment to the prayers they're supposed to do on a daily basis is moving to a yearly basis. So what happens afterwards? Well, these children that are growing up, we haven't seen anything of technology yet. We haven't seen anything. Allahu Alam, but I think, this virtual sort of world of having technology, it could grow even more, and the crisis then will be that it will be sucked more into, the individual worlds, but away from the real parts of what needs to be done in a society and for change. So how do we now do something that is different? Well, we need to go back to our roots. To avoid the clashes that we've got in many of these countries, we need a heavy influence with Islamic studies, Islamic learning. We need the molding of the Islamic self and the character. That is very, very important. There's no, we've got another big crisis that is around, has been around us, is that we've got parents who know Islam, who can tell you about Islam, but who don't practice Islam. The new generation, if that carries on, they will know bits and pieces of Islam, they can preach you Islam, but they may not necessarily fully practice that Islam. The way our 13th century forefathers have given us Islam, we need to go back to those roots. Before the age of technology, before the age of industry, before the age of steel and iron, before the mining sort of era, we need to look at that and see, well, what are their values? Their values were that these were the true values. The true values were that they were loyal to the family, right? The true values were that they put their time towards something that would be benefit to everybody. It's not benefit to themselves, but benefit to everyone. So the whole family unit and so on, or helping the society. The true values were that there were people who had a good time for religious devotion. They had a good time for religious devotion. I think that is very much breaking up, where people have got an hour here, an hour there, and so on, but not a daily sort of routine to that religious devotion. That is breaking up. What we need parents to seriously demonstrate to the children how they are spending religious time devoted to Allah, and not individual time devoted to the PS3, the games box, or the cube, or whatever it is, and the TV and the satellite and whatever else it is. We need to revert back. Once it reverts back, once we can see that the focus is religion, not just culture. We're not getting together because of culture. We don't want to get together because of this, false sense of unity, because everyone's going to come together, we are together. No, we want Allah's words and the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's words to bring us together. So we need time, family time together, and those family times should be around building up the language, building up the structure of society, building up the things that keep us together, doing ta'aleem in the house, or making an awareness that this is because of Allah and His Messenger. So even to one another, even as adults, making sure that the du'as are there, the prayers are there, right? The little things, they all need to be revived in practice, not in knowledge only, in practice. The Quran tilawa daily, right? How many individuals in the house are doing that? Revive all of this. Then once you've got the religious side of things, you've got your good, your circle of study, your circle of reviving things, and lessen the other side. So we need to lessen the influence of these TVs, lessen the influence of these other technologies around us. Have proper quality time together as a family. When we've done that, and at the same time, our background, sort of, for example, in education, we need to have high aspiration education. To the families out there that are living in these societies where you're living in, normal sort of clustered societies, one of the advice I can give you is just get out of there, right? The longer you stay inside there, if it's not you, your kids will be affected. I know kids of the last generation who are not affected by drugs, but their kids are affected by drugs, who were saved by their parents before, like who would have been grandparents right now, right? Who were saved by them 20 years ago, but now there's no one to save them because of the way the structure is moving on. So we need high expectation in education. We need to get the best of education. I truly believe that. But at the same time, not to compromise on the religious aspects. Not to compromise any of that. La ilaha illallah.